Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome to a first impressions video for Tokugawa. He's one of the new leaders in the Leader Pass. He's part of the Great Commanders Pack, and he leads Japan. And if I were to summarize his abilities in one word, it would be isolation. But before we get into the rundown, I do want to ask, if you do like these videos and want to see more of them, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that bell notification so you know when videos like this go live. Comment on the video. I always welcome and read all the comments that people put up. And also consider becoming a channel member. That always helps support the channel as well. But let's go ahead and get into this. Tokugawa. He is obviously Japan. Japan is a pretty solid civilization. They may not be like the best of the best, but they're definitely not, I wouldn't say the worst of the worst. They're very solid. I would say maybe mid upper tier probably, depending on how you play them. And they've got some really good abilities already. Obviously, we've got the Meiji Restoration, which all districts receive an additional standard adjacency bonus for being adjacent to another district. That's just more resources just for placing your districts properly, making sure all your districts are next to other districts and things like that. You just get more yields, which you can't go wrong with that. They also get the Electronics Factory, which gives you 4 culture just for existing. So you definitely want to build a lot of these in a lot of your places to continue your culture push, because culture is, especially with Tokugawa, one of the victory types that you're most likely going to want to push down. The other thing, though, they obviously have the samurai, as you would expect for Japan. Samurai are really strong, honestly. They're a replacement for the man-at-arms, so kind of a mid-game unit, kind of early mid maybe, but around that mid-range. And the fact that they do not suffer combat penalties when damaged is stronger than it sounds, because combat penalties really reduce your combat strength quite a bit. So these guys can just keep on attacking at full strength non-stop, which is going to be really great for Tokugawa, because he's really going to want to establish his dominance over all the cities within, 6 tiles of his capital. Anybody within 6 tiles of his capital, they are fair game for conquering by Tokugawa, because his big thing is Bakuhan here, and it means that international trade routes receive minus 25% yields and tourism. So no international trade routes is probably not a good idea, but domestic trade routes provide +1 culture, +1 science, and +2 gold for every special district at the destination. Obviously, being domestic, that means you're going to be sending to Japanese cities, which means you're going to have a lot of districts because of your Meiji Restoration. You want to have a lot of districts everywhere. Basically, every tile spot that you can find, you want to fill up with districts, and you're going to get even more trade route yields because of all those districts. And then cities within 6 tiles of Japan's capital are 100% loyal. That's awesome. And after researching flight, receive +1 tourism for every district. So again, you want to probably get your population pretty high, stack a little bit tall, not go too wide, because again, you want to keep it within 6 tiles of your capital and make sure that you're getting all the tourism that you can get, all the culture that you can get. This guy, even though he's part of the Great Commanders Pack, definitely seems like a guy who's going to be very strong for a culture victory. Culture victory by force, maybe, because again, you do still want to do some combat relatively early on, or at least when your samurai come online, to establish that base around your capital. Then once you get that, settle in, build your electronics factories, and spread your Japanese culture across the world. We're going to jump in here for a second. Let's go look at the other Japan leader, Hojo Tokimune. Tokimune? I can't say his name. He's the one that receives, excuse me, sorry about that. He receives extra combat strength for his land units in land tiles adjacent to coast, and naval units receive combat strength in shallow water tiles. So anything along that border between the land and the coast, like that, 1 tile border on either side, the respective units in each of those get extra combat strength, which is awesome. Obviously, you want him to be a little bit more island-based, whereas the Tokugawa probably is less restricted to being an island-based. Now, I do think Japan still has a coastal bias, so you're still going to be on the coast, but I don't think Tokugawa cares if it's continental or island based on his bonuses. You're just going to establish 6 tile around you. In fact, it's probably better to have a continent based for him, because you don't want half your land 6 tiles away from you to be in the middle of the water and you lose out on that bonus. So probably better to have a little bit more land there, so that you can just fill up, like I said, all that 6 tiles around your capital and move on. Obviously, the units do not receive damage from hurricanes. That's a nifty bonus. It's not really that big of a deal. And the same thing with the civilizations that receive extra damage from hurricanes. And of course, the other big one is the build encampments, holy site, and theater districts in half the time. That's a big one. So Hojo Tokimune, again, I apologize if I'm saying his name right, Hojo here. He's definitely the more domination-focused leader. And he's extremely strong with his samurais. He's going to be able to go out there and do some real good damage. Tokugawa, who again is part of the Great Commanders pack, is less conquest-focused outside of conquering the 6 tile, cities within 6 tiles of his original capital. So once he gets that done, he's going to settle in and be a little bit more peaceful and isolationist, like I said, and just do his thing. So a little bit interesting change between the two of them. I do like it. I like to see two very contrasting leaders. I think that's a really, really good idea. Hopefully we see more of those along the way as more of these leaders come out, that they're very big contrast between one side or the other. But yeah, there we go. I mean, there's not much else to say about him. I mean, he's going to be extremely strong. I say coastal bios. I just said coast, but where's the coast? Maybe there's not a coastal bios for Japan. Maybe I was wrong. I don't see a coast anywhere near. That's interesting. But be interesting to look up the statistics on that to see if he maybe just removes the coastal bias, or if Japan just doesn't have one at all. And I was just incorrect about that thought, the assumption there. But I think he's going to be a good leader. I actually like domestic trade routes a lot because they're typically safer and just kind of do your own thing. Plus, trade routes, if you're trading domestically, you're not, I don't know. It just feels good. It feels right sometimes to have leaders that can trade domestically and have a good bonus for that overall. But there we go. I think we're going to go ahead and call it there. But hopefully you guys get in there and enjoy some runs with Tokugawa here. And I don't have time to play him. I'm still working on my Lincoln run right now. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that as well. If you're interested in seeing any of these leader paths, please check out the Lincoln run through that we're running right now. And we'll get, hopefully we get to one of these great commander leaders coming up soon. But I do appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you. And I hope you join me again next time. Thank you and goodbye. I wanted to give a special shout out to the following channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.